Welcome back to the GSMC Hockey Podcast, presented by the GSMC Sports Network. The segment bar is annoying me that it's not centered, so I'm just going to fix that real quick. I was thinking about that the entire time I was signing off from that first segment. Anyways, I get sidetracked. You guys should probably know that by now if you've been paying attention to these podcasts, consistently. But anyways, Evgeny Kuznetsov is a huge. I mean, this was a shock. This came kind of out of nowhere for me. I mean, for a player of Evgeny Kuznetsov caliber, I mean, you just look at his career totals. In 743 games played, 723 of those being with Washington, 173 goals, 402 assists, 575 career points, so almost a point per game player, like a 0.8 points per game player. He's a career plus 38. Has been top 30 in Selke voting in 2015, 2016 in his third year in the league, and his year when he was 23 years old. He was an all-star. He was a Lady Byng and Hart candidate. This guy had a fantastic career in the NHL. Is it a Hall of Fame worthy career? Probably not. He does have a Stanley Cup in 2018, of course, in his fifth year in the league. That year was, it was pretty impressive. Had the most goals in a single season in his career that year. 27 goals, 56 assists for 83 points. Highest point total also in his career that season in only 79 games. Evgeny Kuznetsov has been, a very, very important piece for the Washington Capitals throughout Ovechkin's latter half of his career. On the power play, when he was, playing consistently in Washington, he played fantastic on the power play, getting 20 power play points in 2016, getting 14, 31, 23, 12 power play points throughout his career, 27 in 2021, 2022. This guy was an all-star when he was, on, but now he's going to be going to the KHL, where, he is Russian. He came from the KHL. He just isn't feeling it in the NHL anymore. He went into the player assistance program about midway through, or on the earlier half of last year when he was in Washington. Got traded to Carolina, helped them out a good amount on their playoff run, and is now going back to the KHL. So where does that leave Carolina is what I'm kind of interested in. When you look at their lines now, Evgeny Kuznetsov was kind of, right now he's like locked into their second line center spot, and now you're not going to have him there. So that just means that players like Jordan Staal are going to be needed to be relied on. Jack Roslovic might be that second line center, and that would be disgusting. This is another loss for the Carolina Hurricanes from last season. We talk about their mass exodus. 6 guys that played big roles on their team last year left the team, and now a 7th. Teuvo Teravainen, now Evgeny Kuznetsov, Brady Shea, Brett Pesce, Stefan Nesson, Jake Gensel. These guys are big pieces for what Carolina was building last year. And first off, that team only got to the second round. And then they lose 6 guys, replace them with non-replaceable play. Like, you replace non-replaceable players with, way worse players. Jack Roslovic, William Carrier. It's not great. You're still Seth Jarvis and Martin Necas still haven't signed contracts either. Carolina has a lot of cap space, I'm pretty sure. So they're not. They only have $6 million in cap space. Sorry, I thought that they had way more. It's a little scary in Carolina right now. I keep talking about how much they're gonna regress from last year, and the team was fantastic last year. It was a top, it was like a top 4 or 5 team in all of the NHL. But now it's so far gone from what it was that now you're looking at the Carolina Hurricanes and saying, well, crap, this team, this team's gonna lose a lot of games next season. This team's gonna lose a lot more games than they lost last year. I could promise you that. I could guarantee you that. And what does that look like? Does that mean that this team is falling out of the playoffs? When I was giving you guys my season preview on, did I do that on Friday or was that Wednesday? Nonetheless, when I was giving you guys my season preview, I said that this team is, it scares me. I still have them in a playoff spot right now, but I have that fourth spot in the Metro, and I have it being 4-4 split in the Eastern Conference with who gets playoff spots. Now, with them, with the team losing as much as they did, and Evgeny Kuznetsov, who, was going to be a top 6 player for them, was going to play a big role in this season for this team, it does just look very scary for Carolina. And I have them now missing a playoff spot because you can't replace guys like this. Jack Roslovic cannot be a second-line winger. He needs to be on a serious team, a bottom 6 player, and firmly a bottom 6 player. I've learned that firsthand. Watching him in Columbus, he just was not up to the caliber that you would want him to be. So Carolina scares me a lot. And, it's just unfortunate because, what are you going to do about it? Evgeny Kuznetsov he just didn't want to play in the NHL, and you can't do anything about that. In the article that I read today, it's reported that he signed a 4-year contract with SKA St. Petersburg, which I think is the team that one big Russian prospect played for. I don't know if it was even Ivan Miroshnichenko, if it was Yegor Chinnikov, or if it was Matvei Michkov, but I do know a big prospect that from the last few years was on this team, and of course is now in the NHL, but that is the team that he's going to, a 4-year contract, and foregoing the final year on his contract with the Carolina Hurricanes. This just, it does leave a hole in Carolina. He was dealt at the deadline, so wasn't really relied on too much in Carolina to make an impact, but he was one of the only ones that stayed after what I keep saying, a mass exodus for Carolina this season, and now they don't stay. So Evgeny Kuznetsov is retiring from the NHL. There's nothing you can do about that if you're the Carolina Hurricanes. You can't really replace him at this point because, well, you made your offseason moves. You only have $6 million in cap space. You need to re-sign 2 big RFAs that, Seth Jarvis is not going to want that much, but he will want a bridge contract. And Martin Necas, I think, has made it clear that he knows what he's worth. He wants kind of a big contract if he's going to stay in Carolina. Made a big fuss about staying in Carolina, so we'll see what that looks like. It is $3.9 million that is coming off the books for Carolina. I don't know if that is still on there. Let's see if it's still counted against them. And it is still counted against them in at least the website I'm looking at. So, now you have $9 million, so it does make it a little bit better. That puts them kind of on par with how much money the Kings have, how much money the Canadiens have. The Kings did just have a big re-signing earlier today with a Quinn Byfield 5 years by $5.75 million, I believe, or 5 years by $5.25 million. It came out to be $31.25 total. So the Kings got their guy back. Just wanted to share that I saw that. I think it was Frank Saravelli that had that first reported. I think that's where I saw it from on Twitter. But anyways, Evgeny Kuznetsov is not in the NHL anymore. It's weird. It just is weird. This guy I've been watching, for the last 10 years of my life, and he's on the Washington Capitals. Growing up a Blue Jackets fan, I did watch the Blue Jackets play the Capitals a lot. So him not being in the NHL, going back to the KHL, that's a I'm getting a little bit older moment for me. But anyways, that'll wrap it up for the second segment of the night. Time about Evgeny Kuznetsov retiring from the NHL. When I come back for my second break of the night, we'll be talking about teams still set to make a big move, what we're looking at with cap space, or some players that are still left to still some trade requests that are still left to fulfill.
Looking for your